everybody. Thanks for coming back to Guts and Grins. I know it's been a while since I've made a video. It's been a little bit of a crazy past couple of weeks. I'm hoping to do a video on that sometime soon. But let's jump into the topic today. Topic today is going to be the age of AI, the part of the world and economy that we are going to be experiencing within the next 5 to 10 years. There's a lot of talk on the news, talking points and stuff like that. The talking heads and the legacy media are talking about AI and how fast it's coming and what it's going to do and mean for the economy and the jobscape going forward. Well, there's a couple different things I'd like to talk about today. One of them being the concept of technological singularity, meaning that we are going to be at a point where we have reached a point in our economy where the job market is not keeping up with the rise in technology. So let's get started. I'm sure when we were younger, we had a lot of ideas for professions and stuff that we wanted to do. But think about some of those professions that have came and gone in the past, and we've kind of gone with them. Milkmen, you don't really see those anymore. Switchboard operators, ice cutters is a big one, and the telegraph operators. These are people that had jobs, and technology kind of came and went and took them with them. But it didn't just happen to the workforce. It happened to some, companies, big companies that, are very familiar to us. For example, Kodak Films. Or they basically only made film for cameras, and they stacked their bet that the camera was going to be used forever and film was going to be used forever. So when the digital camera became popular, they didn't really have a plan to move forward, so they kind of suffered because of it, And Kodak, not Kodak Black, but Kodak, right? Blockbuster was another one, probably one of the most famous ones. They had the opportunity to buy Netflix. They think Netflix's business model, and I'm not sure if you guys remember this. Maybe date myself a little bit with this reference, but I remember when Netflix used to be a service where you would go on the internet, sign up for movies, and they would mail them to you. Well, that was before they turned into a streaming platform, and the rest is history. Blockbuster didn't think this was a valuable option, and I think there's one Blockbuster left in Alaska. It's not even, they really suffered because of that, because of Netflix, and they took the step forward. So rather than purchase Netflix, they decided to compete, and it wasn't a good idea for them. The last one that really came to my mind was Skype. I'm sure everybody watching this has used Skype at some point or some variation of Skype, but they really had the market cornered in terms of video chat, video calling, conferencing. But then when the pandemic hit, they kind of dropped the ball. They weren't prepared. Zoom, Teams, they're the ones that people use now, and it's kind of sad when you think about just how much of an impact Skype had, and then now it's gone. They don't have it anymore. So what's going to happen? This talk of automation, this talk of AI advancement. What's going to happen when artificial intelligence and automation gets so good? The estimate is that the first market that may be affected is going to be the white collar job. But I'm not necessarily so concerned about that one. I don't think you should be either. Data entry, very entry level positions are kind of going to be phased out by AI. And you may be asking yourself, well, what are we supposed to do then? And I'll get there eventually. So hang on, But the biggest market that's going to be affected by this type of automation and autonomousness is going to be the transportation sector, which is a job market that currently fills about 1/3 of all the jobs in the U.S. Think about that for a second. 1/3 of the jobs in the U.S. are expected to be taken in the next 5 to 10 years. It's kind of scary. And we've been allowing this to happen over the past 10 to 15 years, and we kind of just rode the wave. And think about all the advancements in your car, the car that you may have and bought a year ago. Think about how much of that would have been different if none of that stuff was around. Lane assist, backup cameras, GPS built into the car. I mean, this is all setting us up for a type of autonomous driving that, will take effect at some point. And when that does, it's going to take a lot of jobs with it. And I don't mean to put on my tinfoil hat like Alex Jones, but is this a conspiracy? Or is the car companies working against us to take away the job, the basic job? Think about it for a second. The estimated 1/3 of the jobs worldwide will be affected by the age of automation and the age of AI. So what jobs do you think are going to be affected the most? I can tell you a little bit. Cashiers, we're starting to see that already in fast food locations where you can place your order on a screen. And a lot of times those screens get you to buy more than the cashier ever could. Bank tellers are starting to phase out a little bit. Banks are way less. I mean, there's a bank out in my town where nobody worked there for the most part. So, sorry. Oh, allergies kicking my ass right now. Drivers, again, the transportation sector being affected. Imagine Uber and Lyft not having a workforce. They're one of the largest employers of that transportation sector right now for private use in terms of getting someone from point A to point B. If they don't have to pay their drivers, they can just have cars drive people. It's a big cut in labor costs for them. And if you don't think they will do that, they will. So, we've kind of already seen travel agents starting to be phased out. When you could do everything on Booking.com or Trivago. That I hate the guy that does the commercials for that. His teeth are too perfect for me. You can schedule a vacation now, no help from anybody, and you don't need it. And then a dying industry was the newspaper delivery. I mean, how many people you know that read a newspaper still? We've gotten to a weird point in this country where you kind of you don't really know what's reliable anymore. So a newspaper, especially, I feel like that should be a growing sector. But with the media having kind of an incentive not to tell the truth anymore, like, what are we supposed to do? So once these computers and language models take jobs, what's going to be left? I think AI and machine learning specialists, someone needs to teach the model, someone needs to help them grow. They need to make sure they're operating efficiently and correctly. Digital marketing is going to be a big thing in the future. How do we take this technology and attack the markets with it? Cybersecurity is always going to be a growing field, and then software development. I'm not lying. The future could be bleak if these machines take a lot of the job force away. If you think things are hard now, just prepare yourself. What can you do now to stay prepared? Speaking of that, the change is coming, and it's coming fast. Think about think about how life was around the year 2000. I was 10 years old when that happened. How much has changed since then? We have Amazon delivering stuff within 2 days. DoorDash, we can get food delivered to our house on our phone. Ring doorbells, FaceTime, smartphones. They often say that the phone in your pocket has more technology into it than the original technology used to get people on the moon. And that's kind of a scary thought that you have something in your pocket that could basically call in a drone strike. And that's a widely available thing now that almost all people have. Skilled labor is going to be a commodity in the coming change. Try your best to learn and accept the change as something that we are going to benefit from as society. Think about the Industrial Revolution and the invention of the calculator. More specifically, the invention of the calculator. And I know people, are thinking, is AI really going to be something that takes a lot of jobs? Yeah. I mean, and it's not going to help people learn. Well, sure, you can make that argument, but you also have to look at the fact that when the calculator was invented, did suddenly a million other people become really good at math? No. This is going to be a tool that people need to use and use it efficiently and correctly. But the thing that scares me the most is our economy built for something like this? Um, we're currently in the process of bringing back manufacturing jobs, but that seems a little disingenuous when automation will be taking our jobs in the next 5 to 10 years. I mean, by the time we get most of these jobs back from China, India, Mexico, this may be on the full front already. So, does it make sense to focus our efforts on that? Or does it make more sense to focus on infrastructure? Currently, do we have enough electrical capacity to, run all these AI platforms? Do we have enough electricity? I can tell you the answer. It's no. The infrastructure in the U.S. is very, very, very old, especially the power grid. And I'm hoping to do a video on the power grid soon because it's kind of wild when you think about it, how old it is and how we consistently put electricity into it. And you wonder why we're starting to see more blackouts in areas across the country. It's not going to be able to keep up. And the amount of electricity that's going to be required if automation is a full thing that the U.S. starts investing in, we're never going to be able to keep up. But at the same time, too, we're kind of in an arms race with China. If we don't do it, China's going to do it. And I'm not sure that's an efficient way to think through this. And then we have to look at the jobscape. If 1/3 of the jobs across the world are taken away from these skilled, technologies, how are we going to support people who can't work, who lose their sense of purpose, their sense of being? A lot of people get that through their work. And if they're not working, what are we going to do? How are we going to support these people? I mean, should we seriously consider universal basic income? UBI, for example? I mean, that's the acronym, I guess. But is that something we should do moving forward? And what is that going to do to the morale of this country? People aren't working, I'm wondering if we're going to see some similar, things back from COVID where people weren't out and about. They got frustrated. There's a lot more violence around that time. I worry for that. I worry for the future of this country, and the world. And I hope you are too. And I hope you, seriously take some consideration from this. If 40% of all working hours could be impacted by AI, and ChatGPT is one of the ones that's going to take these hours from us. According to SHRM3, which was a AI model, so keep this in mind, 19 million U.S. jobs are at a risk of displacement due to automation. 19 million Americans are going to lose their job because of this. And 12.6% of all U.S. jobs face high or very high automation risk, meaning that eventually AI is going to come for your job. So I think it's this time when we need to start preparing as a society. So start learning some skills in the technological sphere. Start, getting used to using these models because, it's not going to be the thing that takes your job, but somebody who can use it better than you absolutely will. And that's my Professor Sala told me that on the first day of my MBA program. Yeah, but other than that, I think the future is certainly looking up. But then when you see AI starting to leverage situations against people who create it and try and shut it down, I mean, it's kind of dystopian to think about. I'll try and share the link about this, but I saw an article about a CEO who tried shutting down, or an executive tried shutting down a model, and the model threatened him to expose him, and for his infidelity, let's say. Well, in order for a machine to do that, it needs to feel some sort of leverage in a situation, and they need to establish that person as a threat to them. And then a very human reaction is to take care of a threat. That's kind of scary to think about, that a machine is capable of establishing a threat, an outbound threat, an exterior threat to it, and handling it with a way of manipulation / blackmail. It's a very human interaction to have, and that's a machine that just did that. So, or just to be careful, please do not use AI as a crutch, and try and think about this kind of stuff moving forward. You know, the electricity that I'm using way too much because of these platforms. Just, you know, the CEO of Google recently came out and said that because people were polite to Gemini, they lost $10 million in electricity. I mean, staggering to think about that as a loss. Capturing $10 million is a loss if you're Microsoft. I mean, I'm sure, and if there's any company on the planet that can afford that, it's them, but crazy to think about. So, I hope you guys enjoyed this. It's been a long time coming with this one, so feel free to give me a like, follow, subscribe, whatever the hell you got to do. Keep the channel up and healthy. So let's do it, and look for me on Fiverr too. I just signed up to be a consultant on Fiverr. So if you need any help with your business, or you're looking to streamline some processes, I can give you some ideas. So I look forward to continuing this channel, and I hope you guys had a good time today. Thanks. Take care.